Alright, now we're going to talk a little bit about the spell cards in the game, and I will try and move through this as quickly as possible. First and foremost, a normal spell card. You can only play the spell card during your turn. You cannot set it and activate it during your opponent's turn. However, you can set it and activate it during the same turn that you set the card. There is no insignia on normal spell cards up in the upper right hand corner, so that's how you can tell them apart from the other ones that I'm going to mention. Again, you can play them directly from your hand during your turn, and you can set them and play them later on in the same turn, but you cannot set them and activate them during your opponent's turn. Again, normal spell cards. That's how they work. Up next, we have an equip spell card, and basically what this does is you equip it to a monster, and they usually stay on the field until that monster is removed from the field. Again, you play these during your turn. You cannot set them and play them during your opponent's turn. You can equip them to your monsters or your opponent's monsters, depending on what you want to use the card for and what your strategies are for them. But you can tell these apart from the others because up in the upper right hand corner you can see the plus sign or the cross insignia, whichever you want to distinguish it as. So yeah, that's an equip card, and that's how you go about playing those. Alright, up next we have the continuous spell card. Again, just like the previous two, you can only play it during your turn. You can't set it and play it during your opponent's turn, and you can set it and play it during the same turn. And basically these cards, kind of like equip cards, they don't leave the field until the card either states that they leave the field or your opponent gets rid of them somehow. And you can distinguish them from the others because they have the infinite symbol in the upper right hand corner. So yeah, they usually give like attack boost, or they can help out certain monsters in your deck, stuff like that. But yeah, continuous spell cards. Alright, up next, field spell cards. Again, these stay on the field when you activate them until your opponent can get rid of them, or they get destroyed somehow, some way. And these offer the same thing as continuous spell cards. They usually give a boost to certain monsters in your deck, or give them abilities that they otherwise wouldn't have. And this card, like the other three that were previously mentioned, is not set in the back 5 row where you normally place your spell and trap cards. These guys usually go in the upper left hand corner of your playmat. Either you can activate them or you can even set them, but again, you are not allowed to activate these on your opponent's turn either. You have to activate them during your turn. These guys are distinguished by the little insignia up in the corner as well. It kind of looks like an equip insignia, only the points are a little sharper. It looks more like a throwing star from a ninja instead. But anyways, yeah, that's a field spell card, and that's generally how they work. Alright, all the cards I mentioned previously, until I mention the next one, are spell speed 1. So field spells, continuous spells, equip spells, and normal spells are the slowest in the game, which means quick plays, trap cards, and counter trap cards can negate them, destroy them, but they are faster than these 4. So you gotta be careful when you play them. However, they're usually a little more powerful than most of the traps, so they are beneficial that way. Alright, now the last type of spell card I have is a quick play spell card. These are the second fastest in the game, along with normal trap cards and continuous trap cards. You can play these directly from your hand like you can the other spell cards, or you can set it. But when you set these, you cannot play them on your turn. You have to wait until you pass your turn over to your opponent, then you can activate them. When it's your opponent's turn, you can activate them, surprise them with, destroying their monster, or, you can do something crazy to their monster, or you can destroy a back card with them and surprise them that way. But they're very, very useful, and usually run like 3, sometimes 4 in your average deck, just to surprise your opponent a little bit, depending on what type of deck you're running. But yeah, these are spell speed 2, and they're the second fastest card in the game. What else can you do with them? Depending on the scenario, you can also drop them from your hand during your turn, just out of the blue, to save your monster or do damage to your opponent, depending on what happens during gameplay. But I hope to further explain that in the game mechanics when I get into it. So yeah, those are quick plays, and they are distinguished, before I forget, they are distinguished by the little lightning bolt looking thing up in the right hand corner, if you can see it. So yeah, those are quick plays. And that will conclude how all 5 of these work in your deck and in the game. So I hope that was informative and it helped to understand a little bit better how these cards work.